Being angry with your cheating spouse while not wanting to end your marriage can lead to inaction or overreaction. You know you'll have to confront, but how can you do that in a way that best promotes reconciling? By the end of this video, you will know. Before confronting your cheating spouse, you need to calm down enough not to be reactionary, know what you want to achieve, anticipate different responses you may get, and prepare appropriate action. Although you may feel you have to do something urgently, making decisions while you are very upset can lead to vengeful behavior or boundaries you won't actually follow through on. Although this video focuses on what action to take, don't skip step 1 of recentering yourself with prayer and support. When you are ready to take action that is both loving and firm, then you are ready to move on to step 2. What do you say when confronting a cheating spouse? The main message you will be giving your spouse has 4 parts. 1. I know about your cheating. 2. I love you and want the relationship to work. 3. That can't happen while you are cheating. And 4. So either you end all contact or we will separate or divorce. Although it sounds simple and straightforward, there is a lot that can go wrong. You need more than a script to be prepared to confront your spouse. Make sure that you don't turn your confrontation into a discussion. Keep the confrontation simple and short. This is not the time for working on your relationship or getting your feelings out. It is not a discussion, negotiation, lecture, or interview. It is also not an attempt to get a confession or an apology. Above all, it is not an argument. Because there is nothing that you are seeking from your spouse during the confrontation, it may be easier to do it in writing. Face-to-face confrontations are a worse choice for most people. When a bear is trapped in a corner, it will turn to fight, as will a mouse. Let your partner collect his or her thoughts and calm down before giving you his or her response, if any. Whether in writing or face-to-face, don't add more. This is not the time for a letter or a discussion. Although therapists often advise their clients to write letters, I never do. They are good for getting out your feelings, but they are not effective for confrontations. They will either signal neediness, anger, or both when you actually need to come across as both loving and secure. The message must not close the door nor offer instant forgiveness. Offering forgiveness while your spouse is still cheating is harmful. It actually encourages your spouse to continue cheating. It lacks any incentive for your spouse to stop. Your spouse will need to end the affair before forgiveness can be given. Don't give credit for promises. Let me tell you what not to do in your confrontation. Don't talk about your feelings, blame your spouse, or make threats. If you blame or threaten, you will not get contrition, but you will get defensiveness. Also, talking about your feelings at this time is likely to make you vulnerable when you need to be strong. Don't get drawn into a discussion. The confrontation is not a discussion, but is you giving specific information to your spouse. Its purpose is to get your partner's respect, express your desire for restoring your relationship, and to give your spouse a forced choice with no other options. It is a vital first step along the path of reconciling when there is an affair. Be sure you don't reject your spouse if you want to reconcile. If you say you are definitely ending the relationship, you will create the following problems. First, you'll have to back down from it later, which will lose you more respect. And your spouse may respond by rejecting you, making it more difficult to reconcile. Don't assume you understand the reason for the affair. All you know at this point is that your spouse is having an affair. Although an affair is always wrong, it can be more or less understandable depending on the reason. Some spouses cheat out of selfishness, while others cheat to compensate for something they feel is missing in their marriage. Unmet needs are one of the drivers of affairs. If you catch your spouse in the act, whether in the back seat of your car or in your bed, leave immediately. You need time to compose yourself, make a plan, and possibly get a consultation with a professional. Not much good is going to come out of a bedroom or even a cell phone confrontation. Use careful, deliberate action, not panicked reaction. You didn't walk into the beginning of their relationship. The time that you take to compose yourself, pray, and talk to a friend will be time well spent. Walk out right away and let your spouse worry about what you are going to say or do. Don't take his or her calls. Let your spouse sweat for a while you calm down and make a plan. You need to have the right attitude toward your spouse. Avoid seeing your spouse as evil. I recommend seeing your spouse much the same as if he or she had a drug or alcohol addiction. For sure, affairs and addictions are not the same thing, but they usually serve a similar purpose. They feel good at the time, are damaging, and are hard to stop on one's own. Affairs are self-destructive as well as other-destructive. The affair may be the result of a character flaw, or it could be a symptom of an already failing relationship. Lovingly wanting to help is better than angrily wanting to hurt your spouse. You have to be tough in order to help, not hurt, your spouse. Angry actions come out of our weakness. Love comes out of strength, and it is what God expects of us even when we have been wronged. Try not to take the affair personally. The affair is not about you, but about your spouse. Your spouse's affair is an attempt for your spouse to feel loved, have fun, and be important. It is not your spouse's attempt to hurt you. If you think it is, that your spouse is cheating in order to hurt you, I recommend you rethink whether you should work on reconciling. A cheating spouse who is trying to hurt you often is better divorced than kept. If you deprioritized your spouse in your marriage, the affair will still be wrong, but more understandable. On the other hand, if you have been an excellent spouse, then the cheating says something bad about your spouse's character. I know of no way to turn a narcissist into an empathetic person. Let me answer a few questions people ask. Here's one. When is the best time for me to confront my spouse about his or her affair? This is my answer. Like pulling a tooth, there is never an easy time. Acting before you're ready is not good, but neither is letting things go on. I do suggest that before you confront your spouse, you 1. Prepare to force a separation should your spouse not immediately end the affair. 2. Have supportive people you can count on. And 3. Know proper boundaries to not let your spouse reconcile with you too easily. You must require your spouse to earn your trust back. When forgiveness and reconnection come too easily, affairs are very likely to recur. Quick and easy forgiveness will teach your spouse that there are no serious consequences to having an affair. Boundaries and the ability to keep them are essential. You don't want to be in the position where you give your spouse a choice between you and the other person and then find you have no recourse when your spouse just continues the affair. Here's another common question. Shouldn't I just wait for the affair to die out on its own without confronting my spouse? Here's my answer for that. This is one possible way to deal with an affair, but can you remain loving day after day with a spouse who is giving his or her love to someone else rather than you? If you can't, and you start to become distant and cold, that will only push your spouse more toward his or her affair partner. If you do allow it and keep quiet, what does your spouse learn from the experience? Love demands taking actions that your spouse won't like in order to save your relationship. And the longer you delay action, the less likely you are to reconcile. And here's a third question. I feel hurt and rejected, like my partner has intentionally done this to me, or like my partner doesn't care about our relationship anymore. My answer is, there is a possibility that your spouse has rejected you and has been preparing to leave your relationship. This is sometimes the case. If so, then feeling hurt and rejected is appropriate, and you need to see this for what it is, a relationship issue rather than an affair issue. In an affair, the person having the affair attempts to get something from the affair while also maintaining his or her marriage or committed relationship. That's the reason for the secrecy. It's not so much a matter of rejecting you as it is poor coping. Your spouse may love you and not want to lose you, but have a hard time living without something that the affair is providing. There are some good ways you can check to see how much hope is left for your marriage. God can use all things for good for those who love him. Romans 8:28. And it just could be that this affair has created the crisis needed to get your relationship back on track. Do you need more help with confronting and reconciling? Most people do. I have 3 resources that I recommend to people who have a cheating spouse. For women, my book, A Christian's Guide to Preventing and Ending Men's Affairs, is more than 300 pages and covers everything you need to know. The 2 biggest decisions I help clients make when their spouse is having an affair are, do I build first or make my spouse choose right away? And what boundaries do I need to best promote reconciling? Whether you are a man or a woman, if you would like help with these decisions, I recommend you meet with me for a consultation. If you would like more extensive help learning the boundary and reconnection skills that go with successful reconciling, I recommend my coaching package for ending a spouse's affair. If you have a cheating spouse, you do not have to reconcile, and it might even be in your best interest not to. What is right for one person is not always right for another. But if you do want to reconcile, the way you go about it can really hurt or really help your chances of success. Success with ending affairs, as with anything else, depends on taking the right steps in the right order at the right pace.